like this and like that. So we're a nation that clearly is led by crisis. Right now, people are trying to decide whether the president, Trump, is a racist. He clearly is. His history informs of that. Even if we let go of the fact about what he said about Mexicans being rapists, or a Mexican judge, or what he said about Muslims in the past, or the fact that he thought all black people were on welfare and was shocked that the majority of black people weren't on welfare, or that he said that Africans live in mud huts and that Haitians all have AIDS. If we let all of that go, the arguments in his defense, it's funny to see white men argue for another white man that they swear isn't racist. On what occasion would somebody have had to be racist towards you that you would be able to discern it so well? When were you called a nigger or pulled over because you were black or denied at a job? What made you such an expert on racism that they call you all the time to defend another white guy? What did you do? Like when did you become? Because I think that this is a game that white guys don't get to play because they have a shitty record at recognizing. So even if we let all of that stuff go, when are people going to accept the fact that Donald Trump is not just burning torches because he likes to stay warm? Even if we let go of everything we know about him, somebody argued for the fact, Scaramucci, he said, well, you can look at the unemployment rate for black people is historically low, and that is tell you that he's not racist. Well, I don't know much about history, but I do know that during slavery, the unemployment rate for black people was probably 0%, and they were racist. They've always found jobs for black people to do, whether they paid them fairly or they got it for free. Black people have worked a lot of times, and that was not an indicator of whether you were racist or not. Either we discount every single thing that you know that he's done. There are two things that happened that no one can deny. In the 1970s, Donald Trump was sued by and his father was sued by the Department of Justice twice for refusing to allow people of color, of brown people or black people to live in Trump Towers. The Department of Justice, under a Republican administration, went after a successful businessman because they were racist. So he refused to allow people of Latin descent or people of color, black people and Latin people, in his condominiums. 2 times the Department of Justice sued him for discrimination, and discrimination is racism. They sued him twice for that. The Department of Justice under Republican administration sued him twice for refusing to rent to black and brown people. The Department of Justice. What is different between the way he handled his business in the 70s, not allowing black and brown people into his condominiums, to the way he's handling presidency and the immigration thing he wants to forward? What does he want to do? He wants to deny black and brown people. And the only difference is that he is in charge of the Department of Justice. So in the 70s, sued by the Department of Justice, we refused to let black and brown people in, and now he is trying to refuse to let black and brown people in to the United States of America. I don't care how racist you are. You can be racist and sit at home. You can be racist and sit in your underwear and watch Fox News and lament the plight of what's going on. This is a racist with his hands on the levers of power. And he's acting in a very racist way. And that is why you can't trust him. The same way he acted as a racist businessman is the same way he's acting as the President of the United States of America. In the 1970s, he refused to let black and brown people into the place where he was making his money, and is refusing now to try to not let them in this country. If it acts like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and refuses to let black and brown people in, 2 things he is: the President of the United States and Donald Trump. Stop telling me you don't know he's a racist. Because if you don't know, you get to pretend you don't have to do anything about it. The same policies he tried to institute as a private country is the same things he's doing to the United States of America. If you refuse to let them in when you're a private businessman, the Department of Justice is the only thing that can thwart you. Now you're the president, and there's nothing to stop you now. Nothing to stop you. You're running roughshod over the country, the Constitution, and the levers of power because you can. He is a racist. And now that you know he is, stop pretending like you don't. That's a little note from the GED section. We got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.